Pardon the interruption, but I'm like Wilbon and Tony. It's Earth Day. You concerned about pollution on our planet?
I'm Tony Kornheiser, you betcha. But I'm more concerned about the air quality of Uranus.
Yeah, that's not funny.
Somebody get a doctor for Wilbon, because that was funny. I know funny. I remember the first Earth Day, Mike. It was in 1970. I was in New York City at the time. I was in New York City at the time.
34 years ago.
It's a long time ago.
Wow.
That joke is
Were you wearing
than
Earth shoes? Earth shoes, were you wearing those?
No, Earth shoes are insane. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Grizzlies and Clippers win. The Avalanche lose a key player to a cheap shot. And golf considers a 15-inch wide hole. But we begin today with two of tonight's NBA playoff games in the East. Indiana against Atlanta, Chicago against Washington. Over the weekend, both higher-seeded teams, Indiana and Chicago, lost at home and lost badly. Wilbon, which team is in greater danger of going 0-2 at home, the Pacers or your Chicago Bulls?
Well, Tony, first of all, I don't think either one is going to lose at home tonight. I think they'll both win. So this is particularly difficult for me. Look, the Pacers, we keep thinking, we keep waiting. Oh, they're going to hit the reset button and they're going to get this right because they're the number one seed. They, look great, in November and December and early January. They got to pull out of this, except they don't pull out of it. And I think something is seriously wrong now. How could you conclude anything else? I think the Bulls, with Joakim Noah receiving his Defensive Player of the Year award at home before a rabid and desperate crowd before the game, will recover and do the things the Bulls do. It doesn't mean they're going to win the series, but I think they'll win tonight. So the Pacers, I'm shocked I'm saying this, I think the Pacers are in greater trouble.
It's great that Joakim Noah got that Defensive Player of the Year award, and that was announced, I believe, after Nene and Gortat went after him for 39 points and 21 rebounds, as if Noah was in France at the moment, didn't play any defense. I'm going to add parenthetically that Toronto is in this situation at home against Brooklyn, but concentrate on these two teams like you. Well, no, I'm not like you, because I think the Pacers are going to win and win big. I don't care that Roy Hibbert has vanished. I think that Atlanta's a bad team. I think the Pacers, even without Hibbert, are a better team, and I think they're going to win. I think that the Wizards have a better chance of beating the Bulls. Here's the Bulls' dilemma, Mike, the 24-second clock, because it means they got to jack it up every 24 seconds. They don't have anybody who can shoot. And Bradley Beal and John Wall not going to be 7 for 25 again.
Well, Nene and Gortat are not going to be Wilt again either in Game 2.
Why not?
Because they're not Wilt. Why? They would have been Wilt before, and they've gone out of the playoffs early before. I will say this, Tony, I think, look, the Wizards can win this game, but the Bulls do have people who can score. Their names are Boozer and Dunleavy. And Tom Thibodeau, as great a coach as he has been in his 4 years as head coach, he's going to have to make an adjustment because they can and do shoot. Here's their adjustment. Have to play in the fourth quarter.
Derrick Rose walks through that door, and that's not going to happen. And they don't score.
Through the door.
They don't score.
He may walk through the door, but it'll just be to sit. He's not going to walk through and put it up.
They don't score.
Before we spend all of our time looking ahead, Tony, let's go back to last night, to the Grizzlies' frenzied overtime win in Oklahoma City. Memphis appeared to give it away not once but twice in regulation, blowing a 5-point lead with 18 seconds left. But the series is now tied at 1 game apiece, and Memphis, remember, was in the conference finals just 10 months ago. Tony, does this one win convince you the Grizzlies could win the series?
I didn't need to be convinced by this one win, but yes, to answer your question, I will say this one win absolutely convinces me. I think I've said to you that I think Memphis can beat them straight up, and I think that Portland can beat Houston straight up. And if Andrew Bogut was playing, I would have said the same thing about Golden State. Memphis is a good team, as you point out. They were in the finals, conference finals last year. The spine of that team, Conley and Gasol and Randolph, these are really good players. If anybody thinks that Oklahoma City is just going to walk over them, that's crazy. They're a big, strong team.
Tony, we agreed down the line, particularly on this series. And you know what's interesting? Look, Kevin Durant didn't have any bad games. He didn't have any bad games all year, which is why he's going to be voted the MVP, and that announced sometime next week. But when Durant doesn't shoot it well, on the rare occasion he doesn't, and then you have Westbrook, and you have the two of them playing like two-man basketball, and they don't get, Ibaka, and they don't get, Reggie Jackson. They don't get other guys touches and shots. It's not enough. Now, when the two of those guys are hot, they can beat you just the two of them.
Tag team.
But they weren't that last night, and that's not going to work against Memphis because they played defense too well.
We used to talk about this all the time about Kobe Bryant, how there was a threshold of shooting that if he exceeded that threshold, it hurt that team. If Westbrook takes 28 shots, the same number as Durant, if your point guard is taking the most shots, that is a recipe for disaster. He's not the MVP. The other guy is the MVP. And you talk about the people that they ought to get the ball to. You take Durant. Durant's great. But how many players do you really want from that team compared to Memphis? Who's their fourth best guy? Who do they have? They have nobody who shoots the ball as well as Mike Miller. You can look at the top 8 players in that game, and 5 of them, I would tell you, are going to be on Memphis.
Tony, but you hit on the important thing again is judgment. When Westbrook's going well, he can take as many shots as he wants.
Yeah.
But when he's not,
11
which
for
in the
28.
playoffs can be 50% of the time,
11 for 28.
What are they going to do?
Hello, 11 for 28. The Los Angeles Clippers did not even give Golden State a glimmer of hope last night. They smothered the Warriors. Up 11 after one quarter, 26 at halftime, up 32 after 3, and up 40 when the horn went off. Blake Griffin, who played just 19 minutes in Game 1 before fouling out, he had 0 fouls last night. He had 35 points in 30 minutes. Wilbon, what chance do you give Golden State of bouncing back from this kind of loss?
Bouncing back to win a game at home out of the next 2, I give them a good chance, like better than 50. But of winning the series, I still heavily favor the Clippers, Tony. But I will say this. The Clippers, they play, the body language, the emotion of the Clippers is front runner. I mean, they get up on top of you, they're dancing, they're lob citying, they're doing their thing.
They're good at that.
And if I'm, Mark Jackson saw that too. And I'm thinking an old school coach like Mark Jackson is very much like Doc Rivers. Those guys know how to motivate their team. And they know how to go home and get ready for that and say, we're coming back in your face. I like the way Steph Curry played late in that game last night, down 30. He took it at them, and it sort of set the tone for the next game. I think Golden State can win one of the next 2, but I don't know about the series.
I don't care what motivational speaker you get. You get the greatest motivational speaker of all time. If you're down 32 after 3, you're not winning a game. It's not going to matter. For Golden State to win, and I love Golden State, they have to shoot out of their minds. And it's fun to watch when they shoot and everything goes splash. But the number 1 offense in the league is the Clippers. 108 points a game. Golden State is 10th. The Clippers have they have a regular advantage, and then without Bogut, they have a tremendous advantage. They have just a tremendous advantage. When they play well, they are significantly better and bigger and stronger,
Tony,
right?
That's why I picked them to win the Western Conference at the beginning of the season. But I will say this, Golden State, I believe, is 4th in opponents' field goal percentage. So what Golden State has got to do is concentrate on more than just going splash. They got to stop the Clippers, who are not as good defensively as Golden State.
What's their whip? What's their war?
Again, I think Clippers will win the series, but you asked me if Golden State can bounce back.
I did. That was the question.
They can bounce back.
Yes, thank you.
Let's move to the NHL playoffs, Tone, specifically Minnesota's big victory over Colorado. You remember Matt Cooke, don't you?
Vaguely.
Come on. He'd been a good boy for quite a while, 3 years since his last suspension for violent behavior. But last night he went knee on knee, knocking Tyson Barrie out of the game, not just out of the game, but out of action for 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL sprain. Cooke has been summoned to NHL headquarters for an in-person meeting, which usually means a big suspension. How big do you think it should be, Tony?
I think a lot of this depends on what the NHL values. And I think the NHL is in the same position as the NFL, that there are a variety of kinds of injuries that are very, very bad. Players will tell you that taking somebody out by the knees is more of a threat to end someone's career than taking somebody out in the head. The other night, we saw a Chicago player, slam a St. Louis player
Seabrook,
into the boards.
Yes.
And he's out, and the Chicago player received a 3-game suspension. Now, if you give Matt Cooke 5+, I think that says that you value
the knee more than the head.
Yes.
And look, the NHL, with some of the things it does, Tony, with suspensions and non-suspensions, is like second to the NCAA in sort of bizarre reasoning. But, to me, you've got to – he's a recidivist. I mean, he has been
But he's been good. You pointed out he's been good for years, 3 years.
He's been good for 3 years, but there were 4 suspensions for that, 3 of them for going to the head.
Right.
So now he goes to the knee, which is a new trick.
Yeah.
But I think, Tony, when you've been in trouble as much as Mr. Cooke has over the body of his career, you've got to go with a 5 or more game suspension.
Mike,
Seabrook had not been involved in that many suspensions.
Mike, you know my position on this, and I repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. If you knock a guy out, you got to be out as long as he's out. Matt Cooke took out the best offensive defenseman on the opposing team as if he were trying to change the course of the series by himself.
Yeah.
Got to go out. Wilbon, though you and I love golf, we apparently are a decreasing breed.
Yeah.
According to the New York Times, more than 5 million golfers have quit the game in the last decade, and another 5 million are expected to quit in the next few years. Young people are said to be bored by how long golf takes and how hard it is. Both the head of the PGA of America and the head of TaylorMade are concerned. One proposed solution is to make the hole look at that, 15 inches around, almost 4 times bigger than what you and I play now. Is this an idea that could keep people in the game?
Keep people in the game. It would get me down to about a 4 handicap.
Yeah.
Maybe no 3-putting. No 3-putting for me at that point.
Yeah.
Chip in all the time.
Yeah.
Tony, the key elements of your question to me are the head of the PGA of America and the head of
TaylorMade. These are businessmen
at TaylorMade.
Businessmen.
I mean, we're talking about people, Tony, invested in golf, 360 degrees of it, you know, financially, economically, emotionally. And so when they're concerned like this, it means people have to listen. That golf is losing so many people that as fanatical as you and I are about the game, the game is in trouble and radical solutions may be needed.
The easy answer is to say, good, let them leave, more courses for us.
That's right.
But there are problems here. First of all, golf is very expensive. The equipment is very expensive. The greens fees are very expensive. And it does take a long time. A really good public course, a round is going to take you at least 5 hours. So a bigger hole would
play 9 holes.
No, well, you could go to 15 holes or something like that. I mean, my problem isn't putting so much. It's Shankopotamus on the way to the green. So I want netting on the sides of the fairways. But though we can scoff at every one of these particular proposals, though I like the one where you can throw it out of the sand once it's around, you got to change it, you know, or it faces what happened. There are other sports that almost disappear because the public doesn't like them. I mean, tennis took a real dive.
Tennis had that 10-year, sort of, ride where it just sort of crested, and now what happened after that? Tony, what golf is facing now, not only are you facing just the everyman, the weekend players, and they're not coming to the golf course anymore. Eyeballs aren't coming to the set with Tiger and Phil going, getting older, going into a natural decline. Although when we go to golf courses,
we see kids all over the place. I don't know. Maybe we go to the wrong places. Let's take a break. Coming up, Kevin Durant's and 1-3 was amazing. But was Minnesota's game-winning goal even better?
Plus, crotch grabs, F-bombs, black eyes. Very aggressive edition of Toss-Up coming up.
I didn't know golf was in trouble. It's not,
It's in big trouble.
It is National Jelly Bean Day, but I don't think Wilbon's ready for this jelly and toss-up. What's first?
Toss-up more amazing. Durant's shot or Granlund's goal?
Look, this goal is great. The move is great. The effort is spectacular. And it wins the game. It wins the game.
Move.
But we have seen this kind of thing before. Look at Durant's shot. He's falling down. He's off the court. And he gets whacked by a gigantic, hairy, sweaty Spaniard. And it still goes down. I know it didn't win the game. But it is to me, it's an unbelievable shot by Durant.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're both falling down, and they're both getting whacked by people who are fairly sizable and athletic. Winning the game, Tone, why do we play? We play to win the game. And you don't want to be down 3-0. You want to get within 2-1. So,
but this is an
by the way,
aesthetic
Durant's done this. I guarantee you during the season, Durant had like 20 and 1s where he's getting hammered by somebody bigger than him.
Yeah, but did he fall on his can off the court and still make the shot?
Durant does that routinely almost.
So why are you hating on Durant?
I'm not. The deke alone makes the goal spectacular and it won the game. Come on,
next.
Toss up. Who would you rather have on the mound tonight? Tanaka or Lester?
Lester is 12-5 career against the Yankees. That is awfully good. This game is in Fenway. Lester is 46-27 in Fenway, and I'm still going to take Tanaka because he hasn't lost since 2012.
That's right.
Because he was 30-0 in Japan last year, and he's 2-0 now. And they've never seen him before, Mike. That's a tremendous advantage for Tanaka. And what does he care that's in Fenway? It's not like he knows Neil Diamond. I'm taking Tanaka.
There's only one word that matters here, undefeated. This guy is undefeated. Like you said, Tony, he's lost since 2012.
Yeah.
24-0 in Japan in 27 starts.
Regular season.
And now 2-0 in 3 starts, 2.05 ERA.
Yeah.
His team won the other game, even though he didn't get credit for the victory. When a guy is undefeated, we're taking him.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Next.
Toss-up more worth the $25,000 fine. Quenneville's crotch grab or Ujiri's bleep Brooklyn?
I cannot believe that both these things are getting the same fine. I mean, if you look at Quenneville, it's possible that he could say, I didn't mean this in an obscene manner. I had an itch. The other guy is the GM of the club, and he specifically, deliberately, and eagerly curses out Brooklyn. If I was going to get fined $25 for that, I'd have cursed out the Bronx and Staten Island and all the boroughs at that point. Your boy Adam Silver, he's asleep. That cannot be worth $25.
You want to grab your crotch, because in that case, you're not just saying bleep Brooklyn, you're saying bleep everybody. You're saying to the officials in a way that Noah would love to be able to say in a more creative way, bleep you, and particularly bleep you. So you want to grab the crotch. That is a classic move. Ujiri, everybody knows he's the nicest guy in the world.
Really?
He's, yes, he's Greg Brady.
Out from
you can't, he's Theo Huxtable.
Yeah.
You're not going to get him with a big fine because he's got history. He's a
Let
good
me
guy.
go to Park Slope, see how it plays. What's next?
Last one, toss-up. Who would you rather be today, Martin Maldonado or Travis Snyder?
Here's what we know. Maldonado got suspended 5 games and was fined $2,500 for punching Snyder in the face. Snyder, who got punched in the face, is now out for 2 games with an undisclosed fine. This may hurt Maldonado more in the wallet, but look at this guy's face. That's going to take a while to heal. I would like to be the puncher, not the punchy, all things being equal. I will be Maldonado.
You want to take the swing, not be on the other end of the swing.
The receiving.
So for those people who want to say, oh, turn the other cheek, you turn the other cheek and let me hit that one too.
Yeah.
No, there's no real debate as far as we're concerned, Tony, in terms of what you do in these fights. Now, that fight could have gotten even more out of control. And again, we're talking about what sports look at in terms of injuries, going to the head.
Gomez,
these brawls have to go.
Gomez got 3 games. And Garrett Cole got nothing. Nothing.
These brawls have to go, and baseball looks like the NCAA and the NHL right now when it comes to this.
That's it for toss-up. Time for a break, but on the way, the Seahawks trade for Terrell Pryor.
Plus, Julius Randle's decision and Charlie Strong's expectations for his first season at UT.
That's a nice shirt. He's wearing a nice shirt. That's a big collar. Happy time, people. Happy 28th birthday, Marshawn Lynch. Even though I wanted to wish Glenn Campbell a happy 78th birthday, I see the wisdom of saluting beast mode. Seattle's #1 running back has had some of the most memorable and powerful runs from scrimmage in the last 5 years. And by the way, Seattle just picked up Terrell Pryor for a 7th-round pick.
Well, the Pryor move to me is what's important. Do you like the Pryor move, Tony? You think Pryor can go in there and be a capable backup if something happens to Russell Wilson?
No, I think nothing ought to happen to Russell Wilson and they'll be better off. Happy anniversary, Duncan Keith. On this day 4 years ago, the Blackhawks defenseman ended a penalty box conversation with a meddling Nashville Predator fan by squirting water at him through a partition. Keith's in the news now, having been accused of taunting the basically unconscious David Backus, saying, wakey, wakey, Backy. But Keith says he does not remember what was said.
Is squirting that guy in the face with water any different than Blake Griffin tossing water on that Golden State fan during Game 1? Any different?
Both deliberate. Happy trails, Julius Randle. Kentucky's top freshman announced today he is indeed one and done. He will seek employment immediately in the NBA. That means for all the endless hope that somebody would stay in school, all of the top 4 freshmen, Randle, Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins, Aaron Gordon, they're all done with alma mater, done with playing for free.
Yeah, out. Give me the money. Show me the money. Randall's going to be a pretty good player. I don't know how big, though. He's going to undersized, a little bit undersized, to be playing power forward.
Do you disagree with any of them going to the pros? Aren't they
Tony,
pro?
It's not about disagree. They're all going to be pros. I just think guys wind up being greater players if they learn how to play before they get to the NBA. That's my position. And that's going to be the league's position starting next year.
If the commissioner wakes up from this deep nap. Time to find out what we messed up, Reality.
You guys were just talking about Terrell Pryor going to Seattle. Russell Wilson is now the third highest paid quarterback on the Seahawks roster. That's where we are in that. Russell Wilson, Tone, you had the Clippers #1 scoring offense. Correct. Mike, you were right about Golden State being #4 in field goal percentage. Defensively, Tanaka was 30-0 over 2 years, Tone. 26-0 going into his last start of the postseason, and then he lost.
Big finish real quick. Tennessee hired Donnie Tyndall of Southern Miss to coach men's hoops. You were expecting a bigger name, right?
No, that's your deal. Bigger names. I don't care about bigger names. Maybe he can coach. Greg Popovich was named NBA Coach of the Year. Good choice.
He's great at everything except talking to sideline reporters. Texas coach Charlie Strong tells the Austin American-Statesman that his team will not be in the national championship game next season. Is that a smart thing to say?
Could be pushing a specific button to motivate. Could be. Johnny Weir, Tara Lipinski, part of NBC's Kentucky Derby coverage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're great. They'll talk about hats and stuff like that. They were great in the Olympics. Last one, Us Weekly reports that Lindsey Vonn and Elin Nordegren have become close friends. Does that make sense?
Of course it does. They're spending time, a lot of it, around two little children. It makes perfect sense.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
There goes Gravity, Lisa Robinson's rock and roll memoir. Shout out.
These days, you can get practically anything on demand, like this podcast. Did you know you can even get postage on demand? You can with Stamps.com. No more going to the post office. No more waiting in line. Just go to Stamps.com and print all the postage you want, anytime you want. Anything you can do at the post office, you can do right from your desk with Stamps.com. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your own computer and printer. And, unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes, so you can get postage whenever you need it. Right now, get this special offer from Stamps.com when you use promo code PTI, a no-risk trial, plus a $110 bonus offer that includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com and, before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the home page and type in PTI. That's Stamps.com, promo code PTI.
The next big thing, the next new kid, the next overnight sensation, the next rookie, one to watch, the next Hall of Famer, the next intimidator, the next six-time, the next king. Next. Who's next? Let's find out. Names are made here. The History 300 at Charlotte, Saturday at 2:30 Eastern on ABC.